I'm Tiege.
Hey, and I'm Sam.
And we are your well-informed girlfriends.
Bringing you today's news, tips, and unsolicited hot takes. Today, we're talking about the latest on the Hantavirus, RFK Jr.'s push to get Americans off of antidepressants, and the death of ye old Spirit Airlines.
Oh, so sad.
R.I.P.
I love Spirit.
I know, honestly, they had their place.
They had their Airbuses flying high, and I appreciated it.
They did.
We'll also be talking about another side effect of the Iran war, and this time it is affecting, drumroll, Diet Coke.
No.
Yeah, we'll also be diving into something called doom spending and burned haystack dating.
That sounds so chaotic. I cannot wait to hear what that means.
And we'll also be talking, because it is Mother's Day weekend, we will be calling our moms, and they will be joining us for a small little segment. They'll be giving us life advice, and you by proxy. So very exciting.
Excited to hear from our moms. Although, for the record, we called them this morning as well.
Yeah.
we have already wished them a happy Mother's Day. No one think we're monsters, okay?
All that and so much more on this week's episode. Okay, let's get into it.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Hantavirus, also occasionally pronounced Hantavirus. The internet says it's Hanta, so we're going with that.
Okay.
But there has been a rare Hantavirus outbreak on an Atlantic cruise ship. It left 3 passengers dead and several others sick. But the World Health Organization is saying this is actually not the start of a pandemic.
Okay.
Allegedly. Investigators believe that this is all caused by something called the Andes strain, which is the only known Hantavirus that can spread between people. And it's considered very rare generally.
Okay.
It's usually only contracted through contact with rodent droppings. Ugh. And anyways, it can also, or urine, and it can also cause fever, headaches, body aches, and in severe cases, like some of the ones that we've heard of, lung and heart failure. So there's no specific cure, but patients can be treated with oxygen and supportive care, that kind of thing. Our health officials are saying that the overall risk to the public is still low. And again, they're saying it's not the start of a pandemic and that all passengers are being monitored and tested before they're being released. So,
and here's the thing. That is why I don't go on cruise ships. Cruise ships to me, it sounds amazing, you know, in practice.
In theory,
in theory. It's like, oh, cool. We won't have to go anywhere. This is a place that brings us, you know, but here's the thing. It's like a petri dish.
It is.
You are sharing
and you're so
air,
close. You're sharing air.
Food. Everything is like so contained.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, and you think we're on fresh ocean air, but it's not really that way. It's really like all so confined.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Hopefully those people, I mean, now that they're finally starting to get off, those videos were horrifying.
Yeah.
When the guy was like pleading with everybody, like, please help us get off. I couldn't imagine. That literally is a horror movie plot.
You know, I can't believe no one's made a horror movie about a cruise ship where some sort of pandemic outbreak happens.
And you know what?
It's Hollywood, if you're listening, I have an idea for you.
No, it's being made right now for sure. Okay, this next story, also kind of a horror story, a horror movie plot as well.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Okay, RFK Jr. announced this new federal initiative focused on reducing what he calls overprescribing of psychiatric meds, especially SSRIs. So SSRIs are antidepressants that you've all heard of. Prozac, Zoloft, Lexapro, those are like the main ones. Those are the very popular ones that a lot of people end up taking. And basically the whole initiative he's putting together is training doctors on de-prescribing, Medicare reimbursement for helping patients taper off medications, and then more emphasis on therapy, exercise, nutrition, and non-drug treatments. So I just to put some context on this whole story, because I think it's really important, around 1 in 6 American adults right now is reportedly taking antidepressants. That's a huge number.
Yeah.
And millions say that SSRIs have helped save lives, stabilized anxiety, treated severe depression, made daily life functioning totally possible. But others say that they were prescribed too casually. And some people have complained that nobody explained the withdrawal risks, or getting off SSRIs can be brutal. Like some people go into it not knowing that it is so hard to get off of them.
Sure.
So the mental health experts have been pushing back. Organizations like the American Psychiatric Association warned against stigmatizing medication. And critics are arguing that depression is already undertreated. Some patients could stop medication unsafely because of all of this and this discussion around it. And also, critics are arguing that framing SSRIs as harmful could scare vulnerable people from starting that may need this kind of treatment.
Sure.
So obviously it's a very nuanced conversation. Many of the medical experts are agreeing that tapering off, if you are going to do that, should be happening very slowly, if
Yeah.
that's something you even want to do, under medical supervision, and that, it's really based on person to person. So I thought it was really interesting. I mean, what do you think about this?
I mean, so I've been reading about this for the past week because I saw his letter that went out,
Hmm.
basically encouraging people, doctors, to prescribe less in general and like sort of outlining what Teague just talked about.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I guess my concern is that I don't foresee mental health just getting better by people taking fewer drugs about
Hmm.
it. I think what we've run into in this country is that there is not even necessarily as much of a stigma as there used to be, but I'm not sure that people have access to much mental health help beyond just taking a drug.
Right.
And so for me, I'm just worried that like people won't be able to overcome that just like through grit and white knuckling it through life. And
Right.
I think that's what I'm a little bit worried about. And like to be honest, like I take an SNRI, which would likely be it's not as like buzzy as an SSRI, but it would likely also be impacted in this shift as well, the one that I take. And so yeah, I mean, like, of course, I think most people would prefer not to have to take an antidepressant in general. But I think that doing it in a way that makes sense for them is the only thing you can do.
Yeah. And honestly, like anybody who I know who's ever been on antidepressants, it's a big discussion. It's not like a knee jerk reaction and people instantly get on it. Like I feel
Yeah.
like the idea of like overprescribing it and it being too easy, I'm like, I feel like people really weigh their pros and cons with getting on those drugs. So it was
Yeah.
shocking to me that he was, suggesting that people are taking it willy nilly.
Willy-nilly, yeah. I feel like anytime anyone I've ever met, same,
Yeah.
has, like, had many conversations, they've tried to do it naturally first, you know what I mean? I don't know, that
Yeah.
has not been my experience.
Yeah.
I don't wanna say it's not happening because I have no idea, but, I mean,
Yeah.
1 in 6 Americans is a lot of people, to be fair, so I don't
Yeah.
know. Are really
And
1 in 6 of us depressed? Probably, but
And also, it's like, we need these options. I mean,
yeah,
modern day life is hard, you know?
facts.
And I know we have so many luxuries, and it's even, I feel like very privileged to even say that. But like,
Yeah,
it's if that is something you need in your routine, whether it's whatever you're going through, like I think, knowing that there is an option if things get to a place that you don't feel like you can control anymore is nice to have that, instead of like feeling like, oh, I shouldn't get started because it's
yeah.
not I shouldn't do that. I don't know.
Right. Well, and I will say this, RFK Jr. Has also cited a bunch of kind of actually incorrect things in his argument against. It's like there are pros and cons that are scientifically backed. And then
Yeah.
there are cons that he has sort of invented. Like there is no scientific evidence linking school shootings to the proliferation of SSRIs.
Did
And
he
like
say
he's
that?
said that a few times.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so like take everything with a grain of salt, I think, and do your own research, and make sure you're using science-backed studies, peer-reviewed studies when
Yeah.
looking into what kind of drugs you want to take. So
Yeah, that's really interesting.
yeah.
Okay, this next story, I was actually pretty devastated about this.
You know what?
Spirit
I honestly am too.
Spirit Airlines no longer.
I know, girl. How
Oh,
am I gonna get somewhere for $40 and only a backpack?
yeah, it's tough. So for years, Spirit Airlines was the king of the $39 flight.
Yeah.
The bright yellow Airbus planes, the baggage fees, the memes. Love it or hate it, Spirit really did change air travel in America.
Yeah.
But now, after 34 years, the airline is officially shutting down.
May she rest in peace.
Oh, it's so sad. So they officially ceased operations May 2nd, 2026. All flights that day were canceled immediately as the airline entered liquidation. It was crazy because it was like people had flights. People were at the airport ready
Yeah.
to board their Spirit Airline flight. Same thing with like the pilots were ready to go. The air
Flight
Thank
attendants?
you. That's what it is, a flight attendant. Those girly pops and boys were ready to go.
Mhm.
They were, and it was really quite devastating because, the people that were involved in this airline, like I heard an interview on the New York Times podcast, The Daily, with one of the flight attendants who worked for Spirit and was just like had so much pride around Spirit. And I
Yeah.
think what Spirit represented to people was this opportunity for people to travel that may not have ever been able to do it before.
Yeah.
Traveling notoriously has been such an expensive luxury privilege to be able to do. And so Spirit really allowed air travel for people who had never flown before. And I think like seeing that go away is really devastating.
Oh, for sure. And honestly, like a lot of their routes were kind of random, but
Yeah.
like Spirit Airlines, the only flight direct from LA to Charlotte, North Carolina, where my best friend lives.
Mhm.
Randomly, Spirit Airlines. So I actually would fly to Spirit a lot. And I will miss her, honestly.
Yeah.
And the ultra cheapness of the flights, of course, it's inconvenient to pay for everything and
Yeah.
everything. But like, you know what? If it means I get there, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
the bus of the
absolutely.
skies, and I am not above taking the bus.
And you knew what it was, right? Like, you
Yeah.
knew what it was. It's like, I know that if I'm gonna get from point A to point B, and I don't want to pack a lot of luggage,
Exactly.
and yeah, it's really sad. I do think it's also such a bummer because I feel like this trend in airlines has happened in the past few years where everything is becoming more like catered to a luxury audience, right?
Yeah.
It's like now the emphasis, I feel like all the airlines are focusing on like these places in the airport that feel very high end, and the lounges. The
Yeah.
lounges are a big thing with the credit cards and like the
Right,
benefits.
right.
And so I just feel like it's like we're catering to this super wealthy class, and like where does the middle class and like the lower class, how do they fly?
Yeah.
Is that just going to become less attainable and people are going to be driving? Not with the gas prices the way they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, it's so true.
yeah, it's a bummer. I hope that, there are still some budget airlines. I guess Frontier is considered a budget airline.
It is, yeah.
But it's a bummer.
It is a bummer.
Hate to see it happen.
It is a bummer.
Okay, so this next story I thought was very interesting, and you, Miss Diet Coke yourself, break down what's happening here.
Okay, yeah, nobody expected this to happen from
Ugh.
the war in the Middle East, but Diet Coke is actually disappearing from store shelves in India.
Uh-huh.
Not because of sugar or water, but because of the aluminum cans. India has been reportedly experiencing these shortages of Diet Coke because the global aluminum supply crunch is happening tied to the Iran war and shipping disruptions in the famous, now infamous, Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
And since Diet Coke in India specifically is mainly sold in aluminum cans, the shortage has become visible very fast. I
Yeah.
feel like a week or two ago, I saw Cosmo India posting about this. And many people are, might think of oil when you talk about a Middle East conflict, but
Yeah.
the Gulf region actually produces a ton of the world's aluminum.
Yeah.
A ton, like just a lot of, not specifically
Yeah.
only a ton. But once the shipping slowed and smelters shut down, aluminum prices have surged globally, and aluminum prices reportedly just hit a 4-year high this spring.
Ugh.
So even though the conflict is thousands of miles away, it will impact soda cans, food packaging, electronics, fertilizer, anything that aluminum touches, including cars and consumer prices overall because of shipping.
Yeah.
So far, the U.S. not important to note. The U.S. not seeing shortages yet.
Important
I know,
for
like
Sam.
important for me specifically. I'm literally drinking a Diet Coke right now. But Americans already pay some of the highest aluminum prices in the world, and tariff and import dependence have made the market more vulnerable to price spikes. So
Yeah.
I know we're all paying attention to this now. Between the condoms and the Diet Coke, we talked about condoms last week. Like,
Those
God forbid,
prices went up because of the war.
Yeah.
I do think it's crazy. Also, like, I will say Diet Coke in general has gotten so much more expensive. Remember,
my
like,
gosh,
and
yes.
I'm not a Diet Coke girl,
Yeah.
but my mom is like, has it in her veins.
Right,
And
right.
so I think because, I grew up with her buying it. It used to be cheap. It was like $3 for a case or
A whole
something. Now
case.
it's like $20 for a case. Like, what is that?
It is kind of wild. So this is probably my only consumer price index that I have been tracking dutifully for 20 years. And I will tell you that, first of all, if you're ever in the market for Diet Coke, buy it ahead of like a Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day. There's always a sale. You can get like 3 for $12 or something. It's wild.
Yeah.
That said, the cost of Diet Coke has gone up. I think it's a few things. I think one, the global demand for soda overall has gone down slightly because of the proliferation of bubbled water and like how we're all trying to be healthy, yada, yada.
Right.
But I also think in general, like people are still drinking Diet Coke because we like we tell ourselves it's healthy. Or at least not as bad as a real soda.
Yeah.
But like, because there's this demand, they can increase the price. And like kind of, we talked about this recently, something called price inelasticity. So in your mind, you might think that Diet Coke should be $1 a can because that's what you paid when you were like 14 at like the concession stand at your high school. But actually, like obviously prices have gone up since then. So it's kind of a bummer. But yeah, inflation has increased so much in the last couple of years that when you go to the store, I think I paid $8 for a 12-pack of cans of Diet Coke this week. And I was like, that seems absurd because it used to be like $3 or $4. But you know what? It do be like that. And she died doing what she loved,
Yeah, it's one of those things that I guess you just have to count on your budget and say, no matter what the price is, I have to purchase it.
Yeah, my husband was like, can we like not do that? And I said no. Unfortunately, this is the only thing keeping me slightly tethered to reality. And
so it's important. important.
Yeah,
It's
we're
one of
gonna have
the
to pay for that.
must-haves.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this next story is kind of tied into this.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, I wanted to talk about this next story because it kind of actually blew my mind a little bit.
Okay.
If you're feeling anxious about money, but also feel like you need to buy yourself a little treat, this might explain why.
Okay.
A financial planner named Hannah Horvath says that Americans aren't just stressed about the economy, we're being physiologically rewired by it. Her argument is basically that when prices rise and the future feels unstable, people stop making long-term financial decisions and start living emotionally in the present. And that's why we're seeing things like doom spending. It's like buy now, pay later concert tickets, fuck it, book it, the thing that we talked about a few weeks ago.
Phoebe.
Fibby, luxury dupes, sports betting, and people obsessing over those tiny expenses like Netflix while feeling completely overwhelmed by the big picture for, say, retirement. And she said, Hannah said it's not just like bad habits, it's actually a rational response to years of economic instability. And so that inflation and constant crisis headlines are just like impacting how your brain works. And it's making you make slightly less good decisions and doom spend.
Well, I feel like people have to doom spend, right? I mean, like, what else is there to do?
Right, I know. Well, so her big takeaway, and I thought this was kind of hopeful actually. Her big takeaway was that in an economy that's sort of teaching people to give up on the future, planning for your future anyway is almost an act of like rebellion. It's the most optimistic thing you can do is to plan for the future or to have a kid or whatever.
Right.
And so that's like your own way of resisting that sort of nihilism or cynicism.
Right. So not like running through your savings on a trip, instead, like being like, no, I'm going to save some of this or invest some of this because I know I will eventually need this when I go to buy a house or I go to put
Right.
my
Like I
child in
believe that
school.
there's a future in it where I retire.
Okay.
And therefore, like, because I believe this, against all odds, someday I'll retire. Like, you should keep saving for that reason instead of
Yeah.
just like going to Guatemala or whatever.
Yeah. Honestly, go to Guatemala.
I mean, like, do that too. That seems pretty affordable, right? I
That's
don't
the
know.
thing. It's like-
Affordability is a mindset, you know?
Yeah. I just feel like everything's so stressful now. It's like if I have to buy something to feel better, like I simply am gonna do it.
Yeah.
know?
I think within reason, it's like, here's the thing. Those little purchases are not going to be what kills you in the end.
Right.
It's going to be like crazy, like overspending all the time or
Yeah.
getting into credit card debt.
Right.
If buying a cookie at the bakery makes you happy, just friggin' do it. You
Yeah,
know, like live your
literally.
best life,
No,
girl.
I agree.
I
agree.
there's only so much you can do.
Okay, so phone anxiety is on the rise.
Speaking of anxiety.
Yeah, speaking of anxiety, phone anxiety is on the rise. Gen Z and millennials are becoming increasingly more terrified of phone calls, voicemails, FaceTime, listening to audio messages. And I actually totally relate to this because I feel like sometimes when you get maybe like a friend who leaves like a really long voice note, you're like, I have to sit down mentally to think about this, hear everything she says, and then respond thoughtfully. And I do feel like that's something, especially like if people call you and you're like, what are they calling me about? Like, I'd rather just text me what you need and then we can chat on the phone. What do you think about this? You don't have that.
No, I mean, I guess I'm not like I feel like people have been terrified of phone calls for years. Is this like a new study?
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, yes, I'm not afraid of this. I don't love when someone calls me out of the blue unless it's like a friend or someone I told to call me. You know what I mean? Like, oh
Yeah.
my God, would love to catch up. Give me a call anytime. If you call me then, I'm like, great. But if it's like a random stranger or like my mom does this thing where she somehow always calls me right before I'm about to walk into a meeting, I'm on Zoom, but you get it. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's taken me a long time to come around to audio messages, and I'll admit this. I call them podcasts
Yeah.
because as one does. And like my best friend Katie will send me a podcast and I'm like, oh my God, girl, this is 10 minutes long or whatever. But
Yeah.
you know, I get why we're doing it.
Yeah.
And I want to hear from her and I want to
Yeah.
hear from everyone. So I don't know. Call me. It's fine. Just do it.
Yeah, I do think I totally get this. So phone anxiety is so real because it's like, it just feels like something you have to like sit down and like do, or like responding to long texts. Like I'll have someone like send me again,
An
like
essay.
a monologue.
Yeah.
Or, oh my gosh. And I don't want to give her trouble on Mother's Day, but my mom has been doing voice to text. Have you gotten a voice to text message?
Yes.
It
Unfortunately,
is
yes.
75 pages long. I am reading between the lines. None of it makes any sense. I'm like trying to piece things together like a puzzle. Like I feel like I'm like investigating the text, like what is her point here? And she's like, well, and then maybe I thought about this. It's like all texted out. I'm like, what?
It's like, girl, you can edit these after you hit end. Like after you stop the text going, you can go back and like delete parts that don't make sense.
Or I don't know, just text it. She's like, no, it's so much easier to voice to text. I said, it's not easier to read. I can't read it. It takes me 4 hours to decipher what exactly you're asking for in this voice to text. We petition parents get off voice to text. They gotta get off.
They gotta get off. Or at the very least, learn how to like cut it down. Be your own editor. I believe in you, you guys.
Yeah.
You used to have to type things out on a typewriter, for God's sake. I know you can say that in fewer words.
Literally.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
So funny. Okay, what's this next story?
Oh my God. Okay, speaking of socializing and generally speaking, the generational differences between communication styles. Gen Z apparently is over going out and now into something that they're calling soft socializing.
Okay.
And this is essentially low pressure hangs where nobody's expected to perform.
Okay.
They're doing things like They're doing things like puzzles, walks, pottery classes, cooking dinner together, or even just silently working in the same room. I want to stop here and note that that is called hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
And this didn't need its own rebrand, but that's just me. Experts are saying that younger people are actually burned out by traditional socializing and that it feels performative, especially in alcohol-heavy environments. Okay, I get that. I respect that. But because they grew up online, they're like, oh, I don't need to have more intense connection with people. I already am very intently connected with you, so I don't need this high energy event. They're kind of like the new flex is hanging out, but without it being exhausting.
I like that. Like I like a nice like wine night, movie night with my friends.
Yes, but I would again argue that's what everyone has been doing forever. And why are we rebranding it?
Because sometimes you need a rebrand to make it feel new.
That's true. You know what? And I do love that for them. Like if you guys are hanging out with your friends in person, please do that.
Keep doing it.
For God's sake, hang out in person. I love it.
Okay. Tell me if I'm insane. This next thing I want to talk about is something that happened to me.
Okay, I'm so excited.
Tell me if I'm insane. I matched with a guy on Hinge. We had made plans to meet up that week. He starts texting me. We don't have much communication on Hinge. We text a few times. And the text, I'm like, I'm not sure this guy's my vibe. Like, nothing weird or offensive, but I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not really feeling this vibe.
Okay.
It gets to the day of the date, and I had something for work pop up. So I text him in the morning, 9 a.m. I say, hey, I would love to, like, get together, but, like, I have this thing after work. Like, I can't do tonight. Like, couldn't we reschedule? And then he did text me and see if we could reset. And then at that point, I was like, we haven't met. We haven't really talked. No offense. I don't really feel like I owe you, like, a big explanation, but, like, I didn't want to go out with him. But I didn't want to say that either. So anyways, long story short, I didn't respond to his like reset schedule thing. And it was totally fine. Like what, right? Like it's okay. Tell me why I get on Monday morning, I sit down at my laptop at work. I have a Venmo request from this man, $25 Venmo request from this guy. And he said it's for a canceled date. Roger Room. By the way, have you ever been to the Roger Room in LA? You don't need a reservation there. There was no reason for you to charge me $25 for a canceled date.
Yeah.
Is that it's unbelievable.
That is actually crazy.
The audacity. Can you believe?
Like, my time is valuable and therefore 25. But it's like you didn't even cancel right before the date. You canceled the morning of.
I canceled the morning of, and it's the Roger Room. You didn't have to pay to get a reservation there. It's literally a dive bar.
Yeah.
So it's not like you didn't fork out any money for this date either. Like, and we didn't even have that much of an exchange. We didn't even talk for like a week. We had a few texts and like 1 or 2 Hinge messages. Like, no, is that not the craziest thing you've ever heard? A charge.
I can't with that, actually. I honestly don't even know what to say to that because I was totally ready to give this man the benefit of the doubt. I'm not gonna lie. You launched me the story and I was like, girl, you cancel on my ass all the time. Like, how many times you cancel on it before? I was ready to I was ready to potentially not defend him, but be like, oh, I'll hear him out.
Yeah.
But no, that's fucking insane, dude.
And here's the thing, and maybe I should have been the bigger person and been like, hey, But what was I gonna say? At that point, we haven't met. Like, I don't really wanna
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, I'm kinda getting weird vibes already, and I don't wanna do this."
Right, right,
Like, I
right.
don't think we need to do this. So I didn't feel the need to do that. So I just thought would be the cooler thing. So anyways, what did I do? I immediately declined the Venmo request and promptly blocked him. And so I don't think we'll be hearing from him again, hopefully. Although, also, I have to say, how creepy is it for you to look up my Venmo?
Isn't it just your phone number?
Yeah, but that's insane. You're
Yeah, no,
going
that
on
is
Venmo, you're
insane.
putting in
Yeah.
my information, you're looking for, and then you're charging me. And there's a part of me too that's like, maybe he like did that to get a rise out of me and like thought it was
Yeah.
funny, or maybe I would text him and be like, haha, like silly goose. But I was like, that is so weird.
You know what? Honestly, if a girlfriend of mine did that, I'd be like, that's hilarious. But because it's a man who did it, I'm like, gross, get out of here. Is that
What?
biased? I don't know.
No,
But
but I would never, I mean,
I
that's
would not
just
do that
so
to a stranger
insane.
for sure. Like if I
Yeah.
sent it to you, I would obviously be joking.
Yeah.
Or if he had like put down
But it's still insane.
it's still kind of
Even
insane.
if you did it, I'd be like,
Well,
what?
I guess it depends. Like if it were an actual reservation where your
Well, of
credit card is charged, then
course.
sure, yeah, that makes
course.
sense. But
Or, like,
this is
you-
like some dive bar.
If you bought ingredients for a pizza we were gonna make together, or like anything.
Even that, I'm kind of like, get over it. You can still eat the pizza.
But
You know what I mean?
anything else,
Right.
Like, we were going to a dive bar. And also, by the way, and no offense to him either, but like suggesting a dive bar for our first date also was giving me the ick. Like, I was already like, this, I don't think we matched this right. And I was kind of like trying to get out of it. And so, anyways, I actually ultimately am very glad I never met with him, because if that's the energy
That's
you're
the
coming to the
vibe.
table
Yeah.
with, I don't need to do that.
Yeah, you dodged a bullet, it sounds like.
Yeah, so I'm not crazy.
No, I think you're in the right here. That
Okay,
is
great.
insane of him.
Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem. Happy to validate. Let's move on. What's
Okay.
this insane dating method?
Okay, so this final story we want to talk about before we get into our Mother's Day segment.
Yes.
There's a dating method people are calling burned haystack dating. And I want to break it down. So it was created by this professor at University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, who used her background in rhetoric and feminist theory to build this wise and useful approach to online dating. So the
Oh.
name comes from a simple insight. If you're looking for a needle in a haystack, as we all know, the reference, the most efficient strategy isn't to pick through every piece of hay. It is actually to burn the haystack down to the ground and let the needle reveal itself, since the needle wouldn't burn. So basically, I'm going to tie this all together here. It's when you are doing these online apps, when you're on the dating apps, instead of swiping right and giving every guy a chance and being like, I don't know, maybe I'll see, you instead are trying to eliminate. So instead of like giving everybody a chance and being like, I guess I'll see if it goes somewhere with this guy, you are actually actively trying to eliminate as many people as possible, so you get to the needle in the haystack quicker. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
So like you're eliminating them based on like their looks or what?
No, like on anything you would do on a dating app, right?
Oh,
It's
I
like,
see, okay.
do we match? You know, this guy, is he what I'm looking for? Is he my
Right.
needle in the haystack? Instead of like giving, putting a bunch of pieces of hay together and being like, I don't know, I guess I'll see if this burns. You instead go and try to find the needle in the haystack.
Got it. So
Yeah.
it's like giving fewer guys a chance, and or once you've given them a chance and you get the ick immediately, just dip instead of giving them another shot.
Yeah, so your goal really here is to like rule people out. It's to burn
Yeah.
the haystack, which allows the needles to naturally emerge. So then
Okay.
you are like able to quicker identify like who you would actually want to pursue.
I mean, that feels
Yeah.
very efficient.
Yeah, so that way you don't waste time on men that would inevitably not be a fit for you anyways.
Right.
So you're not like trying to like put a square in a circle, right?
Yes.
You're
Square
like,
peg round hole or whatever they
Thank
say.
you. Yeah.
I was like, I'll get you there.
Yeah.
I
thank
believe. I
you.
believe.
Okay, yeah. So that's burned haystack dating.
That's a little chaotic, but I could see it. I believe it.
I think it makes sense. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's like
you don't want to waste your time on a guy who you know is not a match.
no, and let's stop collecting pieces of hay. For what? Like, why would I have a haystack full? I think it's honestly, and I think that modern dating, we really should be like picking. Honestly, I also could use this analogy in the idea of like, instead of dating a bunch of pieces of hay, you just date one guy. Like, just start dating one needle at a time. Like, I think like I don't know. I feel like modern dating, everyone's trying to date so many people at one time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that really muddles your decision making and like makes it more complicated and it feels like this paralysis of choice. So instead, I think if you can like really do burned haystack even when you like are actually in the process of dating people, I think that's also smart. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think that like when you have too many options, it makes it really hard to
yeah.
pick. And
Yeah.
so it'd be easier to just like date one person, either like them or you don't, see them again or you don't. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just easier to make a rational decision when you only have one option in front of you.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay, great. So now we have our Mother's Day segment.
Yes.
Hi, Mom. Are you ready for your big podcast debut? Oh, you've been on before. It's not your debut.
Please, Trey. I've been on many times.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay, Mom. So happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Okay, so for our Mother's Day segment, I just really wanted to ask you, what is the best advice you've ever gotten, and then the best advice you can give?
The best advice I've ever gotten. Well, probably years ago, it was pay your bills. Probably.
Yeah, that's smart.
Were you not
honestly.
paying your bills?
She
Well,
struggled for a long
wherever
time.
you
She's a
are.
single mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pay your bills so you don't lose anything.
Yeah.
And the best advice I would give to anybody at this point in my life
Yeah.
is to savor the moment, whatever it is you're doing. Make joy out of it and savor that moment. Pay attention to it. Suck it in.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Ireland, and sometimes I wasn't really grateful enough for being there. And I think the other thing is always be grateful for somebody else's effort. That's
Yeah.
a big one. Be grateful and make sure you show it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Ugh, Mom, you're the
That's
best.
such good advice.
That's great advice. Is there anything else you want to say on the pod? We know you're our number one fan.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Kathy do be commenting on our page and we friggin' love it.
All the time. Well, because I just tell you guys, I find you so entertaining, and but I find you so knowledgeable. I mean, people of an older segment, and I'm talking about anything after 45 at this point, don't
Yeah.
know anything about what you guys are up to, or what younger, even God forbid, younger people are up to.
Yeah.
So you kind of fill us in, and I just think you're a wealth of knowledge.
Well, we love you. And most of our knowledge came from you, or at least mine. So,
Well, some of it good, some of it bad, I'm sure. All of it well intended.
Okay. Well, we love you and happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you, girls. I love you both like unbelievably.
Aw,
Okay.
thanks.
We'll talk to you later.
Happy Mother's Day. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, that's good.
That
Savor
was
the
so
moment.
cute. That is such good advice.
That is so good.
I love that.
I love
to call
her.
my mom, I do have to grab my phone. So I'm gonna.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Mom. You're
Hi,
on
Betsy.
Well-Informed Girlfriends.
Well, hi, everyone.
Long-time listener, first-time call. No, actually, second-time caller. I think we did a Mother's Day up with you before, right?
I think we did.
We did.
A few
Right.
years ago.
A few years
Okay.
back. So we're
Wow.
calling because we were curious if you could tell us the best advice you've ever gotten and the best advice you can give.
Good one. All right. The best advice I've ever gotten. Well, I may have told you this before, but my mother once told me that you can never change a man. And I still think that is pretty good advice because a whole lot of women
True.
go into a relationship thinking, well, oh, he drinks a little too much, but I'll fix that.
Totally.
Or he doesn't pay enough attention to me, but that'll change once we're married or living
Totally.
together, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I really think it was good advice.
That's great advice.
And then
The best advice you can give?
the best advice I could give someone to whom? To who?
To anyone, or in this case, like me and Tiege, I guess.
Okay.
Like a younger generation, not your cohort, but like,
Mhm.
millennials or Gen Z, all of the younger women who come after you.
It's kind of tough. I mean, that's a pretty broad question. That sounds kind of trite, I guess, but be true to yourself.
Good.
Try, try, t- you know, try to work your hardest to get what you want and don't give up. And I don't know, expect to be respected and respect others, I think.
Oh, so
Love
like the
it.
golden rule. I love that. That's good. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. Is there anything nobody told you about getting older that you want to pass along to the younger moms out there?
Aside from the fact that it sucks, I'm sorry.
No, people told us that. What are you talking about?
About getting older, um, well, you know what? It's not all bad. I have a lot of time that I didn't used to have. Sometimes it's too much time because I just recently retired. But um, there are pluses for sure, and I feel fortunate. I think about getting older, you should make sure to do the things you want to do while you're still physically able and not wait too long. So I'm hearing from a lot of friends about physical problems that
Oh,
are,
okay.
causing them to
To
be
not be able to
less
do what they want
active.
to do. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that's
Right.
all great advice,
Thank
Mom.
you,
Thank you. We're gonna have to go
Betsy.
because we are overtime now. But it was so lovely to chat with you. Happy Mother's Day, Mom, and thanks.
Happy Mother's
Well, thanks
Day.
for the call. All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, how sweet.
I know.
We need to have them on more often.
So they can like just tell us that they love us.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever. Well, thank you guys so much for being here with us this week. We are so excited to keep doing the show, and we appreciate you always.
Always tell your friends. And if you are a mom listening, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.